Hello, and welcome to Heart-Led Living. Today we're going to be looking at what is next for you in love. And I really want to keep this open to all forms of love, whether that be family, friends, self-love, romantic love, just what is next for you in your journey of love. This could also be learning different love lessons or about different love ideas. But without further ado, pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. All right, I'm gonna choose this stone for pile number 1. I'm gonna use this fox for pile number 2. I'm gonna use this eye. If I can pick it up, I might not be able to, but we'll just know that it's for pile number 3. And then this guy. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of my stones right now, but we're gonna use intuition. Okay, so that'll be pile number 4. I'll have timestamps below, so go ahead whenever you're ready and go check out your pile. Hello, pile number 1. So already I'm really getting, this is the Hanged Man in reverse, as well as the citrine. It really feels like trusting your perception. And I'm seeing these two heads, and it almost feels like listening to your heart and listening to your head, listening to what you feel and listening to what other people around you are suggesting and saying. And it's almost this moment of you really coming into yourself, hence this orange citrine stone, which to me means is related to the sacral chakra as well as the solar plexus chakra, defining ourselves through our personal unique expression, who we uniquely and divinely are. And we perceive that a lot of times, and we discover what that is through the way that we uniquely perceive the world, through our intuition, through our emotions, through our feelings, what we naturally prioritize, what we naturally want. This can be a real sorting process of self-discovery where we learn, okay, yeah, this really makes sense for me, or this doesn't make sense for me. When we are conditioned by other people's priorities, i.e. our parents, society, teachers, family, whoever, and we're striving to make them happy, to be a good person for them, a lot of times we can lose sight of our own internal compass and our own internal knowing of who we are and what is best suited for us. So I really just feel internally that what in this pile we're learning is that we have a right to our own voice, we have a right to our own perceptions, and that our own perceptions are actually going to lead us towards that which we most desire. Wow, okay, so there's a lot of reversals today, and that just means that we are learning through our subconscious. We are learning what isn't working for us. We are learning through reversals, we are really learning and honing in on the aspects that aren't as clear to us and we don't see as regularly, kind of like our subconscious blind spots. So reversals can actually be really helpful, especially if we're like stuck in a rut and we don't know how to move forward. It's generally there's something that we're not seeing or not fully understanding. So when reversals come up, I really want you to see them as like, oh, cool, like insight into another way of looking at this, insight into what I've been asking for, but for some reason have felt really stumped on. Okay. Yeah, this really feels like, I'm going to pull some more oracle cards too, just to get further clarity, but this really feels like not listening to yourself and instead feeling like there's something faulty or wrong with the way that you see the world or how you process or how you experience life. And so we're really trying to appease others in your life because you don't recognize or know that you're good enough, that you are enough as you are. Okay, let's see here. You have a lot of major arcana, at least 4 out of 9 cards. Let me see. Some of these are a little bit different in this book. Arranged a little bit differently, or different impressions of the major arcana. So let me just look some stuff up real quick. Oh, that's interesting. Oh yeah, okay. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I love these. I love these. Okay. So you seem like a very dreamy person, a very caring person, a very loving person. You really want coherence with the people in your life. You love them so much that you just want connection. I think that the issue that you're finding is that you're not being authentic, or as authentic as you could be. You're really selling yourself short. You're really allowing other people to experience your honey without experiencing the joy of your honey. You're almost like giving your honey away because you're trying to experience or perceive your own worth. And it's like the more that you give, the more that you feel like you can perceive your own worth. And you do want to live in a giving world. Like, this is the nature of your heart. And I love that. And there is a lot of pain, or maybe evil is the word that comes to mind, but just disparities in equality, in rights, in people getting what they deserve. And there's almost like this fear or this feeling inside of you that, like, if you don't do it, no one else is going to. So the way that you've been caring for others and almost filling in the gap for others is trying to go into these places where you feel like pain is felt the most, or sadness is felt the most, or destruction is felt the most, disorientation, and you're almost like using your honey to try and fill in the gaps in these places and these people's lives, and maybe community outreach. But for whatever reason, maybe it is because of the places in which you're going, the people don't have enough self-worth to really recognize and really bolster you and your own innate self-worth. Like, you know, people who people in our society right now who have low self-worth, it's really challenging for them to be supportive of other people. They don't feel like they have the resources to be supportive of other people. So if you are going specifically into scenarios where you recognize these people don't have a lot of resources, they don't have a lot of emotional resources, is what it seems like. They're like in the most pain, right? And you're like, this is where I need it. This is where my love can take the world to the next level. And I love that. I love the compassion that you have, but it's almost like you don't recognize the value that you have. You only recognize your value when you're almost heroing other people, when you're saving other people. It's like in those moments, you feel like you can really receive the worth and the value that you have. But I feel like you're not being authentic in these moments. If you want to play that role in society where you really go into places and you offer them your love and you offer them your acceptance and you offer them your willingness to be kind, in a way that you really perceive is needed in those communities or with those people, it's really important to balance it out with relationships, with family ships, with other communities where you're really seen and championed yourself, where you can go, you can recharge, you can, it kind of like just feel held. Or, you can provide that for yourself, whether that's like long walks and journaling, or just doing things that you innately love and kind of bring life force energy back to you. It can be really dangerous for us, as I say us, but people that I perceive as like empathic, intuitive, very connected individuals who are constantly trying to save the world, because we can really lose sight of our own needs, and our own needs do matter. And especially if you were raised in an environment where people could not provide your needs or did not consider your needs important because they were dealing with so much strife and emotional pain, or maybe ancestral trauma and lineage trauma, that they just didn't have the capacity to be there for you and support you and provide those needs to you. If you are, because of that, trying to go out into the world and like solve those problems, I love that. I commend you for that. And also, please balance that with self-love, because you're a child of the divine just as much as you perceive other people as being, and you deserve that support and that nourishment and that love just as much as you see that needing to be provided in your communities and with the people that you love. It's really important to not exasperate your own resources in pursuit of making the world a better place. It really needs to be at a sustainable pace for you, whatever that looks like, and also at a pace where you really feel recognized. You're not earning your worth. You're not earning your value. You're not earning a right to be on this planet. You already have a right to be on this planet, and you have a right to experience and enjoy yourself, even when other people are in spaces where they don't know how to enjoy themselves. Even when other people are in strife or in pain or in turmoil, you putting yourself in a mirror of that turmoil and that strife by getting in the trenches with them and not providing enough self-care for yourself is not going to heal the world. It's not. You're just proving to yourself that we have to be in strife and turmoil in order to make a difference. And what if that's not true? What if you can be supported, you can be loved, you can be foundationally nurtured in the way that you live your life, and you can also get in the trenches with other people if that's what you choose to do, and provide help and caring and healing. I think this other issue is that you're really choosing people. I'm just like noticing this like rotten apple. Wow, and this spoon. So I don't know if you deal with people with addictions. That's pretty heavy. People with addictions definitely need help, and they need love, and they need support. So if that is something you're doing, I champion you for that. And very vital, very vital. Very vital for you to take care of yourself. So if you specifically are dealing with people with addictions, heroin, whatever, and you're a sensitive empath or just a sensitive person in general, know that different drugs have different consciousnesses. And like heroin has a very specific consciousness. Alcohol is a very specific consciousness. Honestly, that one can vary from person to person, but there's still generally like a consciousness to alcohol, to heroin, to cocaine, to really any drug or any substance, including foods. They all have a consciousness to them. And if you're spending your time in a consciousness that is not healthy for you, i.e., you're spending your time around people who are addicted and like heavily inundated in a certain kind of way of thinking and feeling and orienting themselves to the world, I think it's really important for you to pull back and recognize that all the world is not like that. Even if you feel like these people with addictions are reflections of where the world has turned its back on people, and they are kind of like the scapegoats in society for, the shit that society doesn't want to admit or deal with, it is still important for you to recognize that even though these people that you may be working with, and it might not be as serious as addiction, but this is like really coming through, so I'm going to mention it. Even if these people who are dealing with addictions in your life, or people that you're surrounding yourself with, even if you feel like they've been scapegoated or dismissed by society, and they're almost like a reflection of societal decisions. Let me say that. Almost like they're just a byproduct of society. I think it's important to also state that these people are also making a decision. It might not be a conscious decision. It might not be a decision that they know they're making, but they are making a decision to succumb to addiction. And I know that's not popular. I know that addiction is a disease, especially like when it's already like kind of like has its claws into the person who's working through addiction. But what am I saying? Let me sit with this. It is important to not be led by people who, oh my gosh. Yeah, so it's almost like you're allowing the people with the addictions or with the distorted consciousness to guide your actions. So even if you feel like you're helping them, it's almost like their consciousness is guiding you, and you feel like you're being the one to be there with them, sit there with them, provide comfort to them. But really, two things. What they're needing, perhaps, is someone who has a perspective like you, really standing in their own consciousness. So it's almost like you're catering to their consciousness. What if you honored your own perceptions and your own perspectives, and you didn't allow people to harm you? And I mean, allowing them, even if you're giving them grace or the benefit of the doubt, and you're like, I know where you're at, I know why you're doing what you're doing, I know you're just lashing out from a subconscious place because you're scared. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Like, sometimes it matters, yes, and sometimes it is good to give a person in that place grace, but it's also really important for them to see that you have boundaries. Because a person with that sort of personality, I'm just gonna say disorder, but it's like, it's consciousness, right? Because it can change. It's just the consciousness that they have currently agreed to, the consciousness that they're currently subscribed to. And in their consciousness, there is such low self-worth that they think that if you are catering to them, that it is because you are weak. And I don't see you as being weak at all. I see you as having a lot of compassion, which takes strength. I see you as being willing to look at things from different perspectives. I see you willing to take on these people's point of views, even if society wants to forget them. And I see you being able to really be blunt when you need to be. I don't know if blunt, but it's like very direct. Or what is this energy? Discreet is what's coming up, but that sounds like the opposite of what I'm trying to say. Maybe you're being discreet now, but you see with like absolute clarity what it is that people are doing and why it is that they're doing it. And because you can see that behind the veil of what's motivating their actions, I think that you give them a lot of grace because you know that it's coming from a painful state. But you can't let other people treat you poorly, even if they're doing it from pain, and even if you recognize that what they need is a safe place. Even if you're providing that safe place to them, what they're perceiving is that they are in a power dynamic than you. And they're trying to have power over you. And when you cater to their needs and to their whims, I know that this is messed up, but a lot of people in that place feel like they can kind of like do whatever they want with you. And it's actually not helpful, and it's not helping them. It's just teaching them that they can treat people like smack. and then that person will always be around. So that's that. I think that there is importance in you really anchoring yourself in your dreams and in your compassion and what you want, like the resources that you want to provide for these people, and even maybe that you want to be a part of providing for them and with them and alongside them, like what you want that to feel like, and that you get to have rights within in that. You get to have your own needs met within that, right? You're not just a slave to meeting other people's needs. It's almost like I can't get my needs met until I know the world is safe for everyone. And I, again, applaud you for the desire for everyone to be included in this like loving, nourishing environment that you're really aiming at creating for others. But it's important for you to recognize that even when you're wanting to uplift others, you get to be uplifted as well. You get to be powerful as well. You get to be embodied in the love that you're wanting to offer someone else. Like you get to experience that for yourself first. And I just really feel like there's just all these people, like all of these babies that aren't even your babies. They're just taking. And you feel like you're making an impact because you feel like you understand the quality of love and care that you're providing. And maybe sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I really feel like this is a call from spirit to pull your energy back a little bit and to really redefine how you want to be, because this almost feels like a social justice advocate, and it might just be in your families or in your friend group or whatever, but it definitely has this feeling of like this peaceful warrior, like you're wanting to provide for the needs that are not being tended to in society, in your life, in your families, in your communities. Like you can see them very clearly, and you're wanting to provide love and grace for them. And I love that, but I do feel like you don't have enough resources coming back in for you. And you don't have enough self-love and self-worth and self-respect being prioritized in how you're allocating your energy and your effort. And it is time for some sweetness to come back into your life for you. You are worthy of this. And I feel like you might be trying to save other people in order to avoid the small girl or the small boy, the small being, the small child inside of you that never felt like they were taken care of and didn't feel like they were worthy of it. And I feel like you're on the social justice advocacy almost to create that space in the world. Like maybe if I can provide love in this way, then I am deserving of love. I am worthy of love. And maybe this person will love me back, like my parents never did, or like my teachers never did, or like society never noticed me. But yeah, there's this pullback of you really enjoying sensuality. What do I mean by that? Enjoying what it feels like to be physically embodied, enjoying what you're eating, enjoying what you're drinking, enjoying the feelings and sensations of life. Having grace, instead of giving grace out to other people, I want you to give it to yourself. And I think you're allowing other people to lead and dictate your actions. And I really think it's time for you to come into the fact that you have a lot of really great, beautiful ideas. And you deserve to be honored for that, for your insights, for the wisdom that you have, for the wisdom that you keep, and really begin to share your consciousness with others instead of just catering to other people's consciousness, other people's beliefs, other people's ideas, other people's thoughts. Really hold strong in like what you feel, what you think, what you want to see in the world, and really giving that validation by taking action on it. And that's what I see for you guys. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for spending your time here with me, and thank you for this beautiful energy that you're so powerful. You are so powerful. You have such brilliant, strong, beautiful resilience. And I just want to see you honoring yourself. I want to see you valuing yourself and knowing that this, you honoring yourself, is, I mean, truly, truly what society needs to see right now, what people in even like disenfranchised communities need to see right now, is that we get to respect ourselves. Even when other people don't respect us, we can still value our own boundaries. We can still value and see ourselves as sacred and whole. This is what society needs from you, and giving from that place. So with that, I feel complete. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hello, pile number 2. I believe you're pile number 2. The folksy folks. Ooh, what am I even seeing from this? Hold on, let me see if I can feel into a message. This is definitely the Star, so this feels like you have a dream. You might have some pretty dreamy, out there ideas about what you want to create and what you want to experience in love and what is possible for love. It might feel dreamy and kind of like out there because it's not something that you have directly experienced, but it's something inside of yourself that you deeply feel at a subconscious level or an internal level that you're worthy of and is possible. And I feel like you almost have these two sides of yourself. You have this like little devil that's like, you're not capable of experiencing that. No one wants to go out there with you. No one wants to experience you that way. And you have this other side of yourself that's like, well, what if? Isn't it worth it just to try? Isn't it worth it just to put myself out there and see what's possible? You might also like fantasize a lot, read a lot of fantasy books, or like watch fantasy shows, maybe even like rom-coms, or I don't know, just things that kind of put you in that dreamy space where people are living the life that you want to live. And it almost like emboldens this one part of you, this angel part of you that's saying, yes, that is possible. It just needs to be nurtured. So let's see what else. And we have this fox. I don't know what the fox is about, but I almost feel, I mean, like I always associate foxes with trickiness or cleverness, but I also feel like I see the bones. And certain pieces aren't where they're meant to be. It almost looks like there's like organs up here and bones down there and organs over there. So it might be that this energy feels particularly tricky because maybe there are certain predisposed imbalances within you right now where you don't feel like what you want is possible. Interesting. That was the first card for the other pile. All right, pile number 2 and love. What is it you want them to know about their love journey? Their love journey. Their love journey. Yeah, the devil. We know it. We know it. Yeah, we have more of like this like apple and kind of like snaky, deceitful energy. Maybe there are parts of you that feel like, I was just talking about this today for myself, where I have this subconscious belief that in order to get my needs met, I have to trick others or convince others to provide them for me, because there's this devil, this darker entity or energy within me that was neglected and put a story behind that no one would be able to or willing to or want to provide a loving, safe space for me. So it may or may not be relevant to you. Yeah. something, there's a pattern that wants to complete though. Tell you that much. Ooh, okay. All right, let's look at this. So where you are, whatever it is that you're experiencing currently from love doesn't feel like it's enough for you. It feels like you want more, you want to dream of more, you want to experience more. And you're almost staying where you are because you feel protected. You feel a sense of safety. There's a sense of familiarity. There's a sense of like, well, if I just stay here, I can keep getting what I've always gotten, and that's pretty good, and blah, 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 blah. But there's something else inside of you that's like, it's not enough. It is not good. This is not what I deserve. This is not what I desire. Like, I just want to break free. I just want to break free. I just want to walk away from feeling like this, from feeling, oh my gosh, look at how much imagery of the devil we have, right? We have the snake in the tree and apples. We have a snake in tree, apples. We have this little devil. We've got this one. It's almost like you have associated your desires and wanting more with evil, or making you like, that's too much. Like, I don't get to have that. Other people might get to have that, but I don't get to have that. Like, when I actually ask for what I want, I'm being disruptive, and that's bad. When I say no, I don't want that, that's me asking for too much. That's me saying too much. I really just need to keep myself small and placate my feelings and just endure. This almost feels like a sense of like enduring, because that's all you know how to do. And if that's true for you, one, I want to say that is not all that is available for you, in my opinion and my experience. I've definitely ventured out, taken chances on my dreams and what I want and what I desire, and inched my way closer and closer and closer to a lifestyle that is more suitable to who I am as an individual and what my personal desires are. So it is possible to go from a place where you are not getting your needs met at all to a place where you're advocating for your needs and really allowing people to either come or go, do as they wish. But you're saying, this is what I deserve, this is what I'm desiring. You can either join me in that and help me create that, or you can go, because otherwise you're just taking up space. But there's almost this fear of letting things go, because you're like, well, what do I have then? If I let go of what I have now, I won't have anything. And you feel like that's going to bring you even further away from getting your desires met, but it's not. It's actually creating a space so that the universe, through you already stating your desires and clearing away what no longer serves you, can actually bring in people that are more aligned to what it is that you truly want. And it is not evil, it is not wrong, it is not inconsiderate, it is not rude to have needs, to have wants, to have desires, and to ask for them to be met, and to have boundaries around like wanting more, desiring more, needing more. And it's almost like you feel like if you gave into that, you would just almost like be taken advantage of. It's almost like if I advocate for my needs or my desires, or allow myself to indulge in what I need, then I will be taken advantage of. It is interesting. It is interesting. So this almost feels like wounded divine dark feminine energy, where dark feminine energy is like where you really know your worth. You know that you are worthy of your desires. You know that you are worthy of pleasure. You know that is why, partially why you're, a big part of why you were put onto this planet is to experience pleasure and joy and satisfaction. And somewhere along the way, that might have gotten twisted in you needing to provide satisfaction for other people, and your needs not mattering and other people's mattering more than yours. And that is just so not true. That is not love. Also, I feel like maybe moments where you have felt more adventurous, where you have really allowed your emotions to drive you forward, you might have had incidences where things didn't go the way that you imagined them going. you got your hand slapped, someone either told you that it was wrong or bad or naughty to go after what you desired, or going after what you desired, something happened. I feel like it's more the latter. Like you snuck out and you got caught by the cops, or you, I don't know, got like something happened where you followed your desires, and then life itself kind of like, you feel slapped your hand, or like did something that almost made you want to like pull your energy back, because you're like, oh no, like when I chase my desires or I chase my dreams, like bad things happen. Okay, so if it is the latter, where you like went after something that you desired, and then you got into something that didn't feel, it almost felt like an unsafe situation for you. You followed what you desired, and then it became an unsafe situation for you. So if that is what happened to you, I'm going to propose an idea that maybe somewhere in your mind, if you did this, because this almost feels like teenage years or like early 20s, or like sometime when you're feeling adventurous and free, and you just like don't have as many strings like holding you back or keeping you down, and you kind of like feel more like, even if rebellious. So even if you've experienced like your parents like telling you like, no, you shouldn't do that, no, you shouldn't ask for that, no, you shouldn't need that, whatever, we kind of like have this moment in our teens and early 20s, at least a lot of us do, where we feel like we get to reclaim space. No matter what anyone has told us, we get to reclaim space, we get to live our own lives, we get to be independent and free. And it seems like you had a moment like that, where you're like, yeah, like this is my life, I get to do what I want, and then boom, something happened. If that is what happened for you, you might have had, like, I keep feeling the story of this friend that I had in high school, where she had very strict parents, and they were abusive, emotionally abusive. They would have considered themselves to be good parents. I would have considered them to be emotionally abusive and mentally abusive. But she lived in a nice house, she went to nice schools, whatever. And she was so creative, she was so interesting, she was so beautiful, she was so unique, and she was like the coolest person I knew. And for whatever reason, people always kind of talk, because they were lame. High school, middle school girls, they can be really cruel and insecure, and they played jokes on her and tricks on her. And all of the beauty that she naturally emanated, that was like suppressed by her family, by her peers. So she really looked down on pieces of her that were natural to her. But she still had this drive for freedom. But it was just freedom of action, freedom to do the things that she wasn't allowed to do. So she bought like a bunch of bras. She like worked at Aerie and like bought like 50 freaking bras. She had so many bras because her mom basically told her like not to get bras, not to get thongs, like she couldn't have like sexy underwear. So what did she do? She went out and she did the exact opposite, and that's what freedom looked like for her. And she moved away, and she like partied a lot, and she, because that's what freedom looked like to her, right? That's what breaking free looked like to her at the time. It looked like doing the exact opposite of what her parents told her was okay or possible. But it wasn't freedom in being herself. It wasn't freedom, in my opinion. Now, she might think differently about it, but from my perspective, it wasn't freedom in her aligning to her soul's desires, because someone had told her that she wasn't, like, those parts of herself had already been rejected. She'd already rejected those parts of herself. So her artist, her intuitiveness, her softness, her sweetness, her gentleness, basically her soul, she had suppressed and denied and rejected, because she had already decided that those parts of herself didn't have space or room in this world, in this life. So she was experiencing freedom from, like, I'm just going to do the exact opposite of what other people tell me, and not freedom from, like, I get to be exactly who I want to be. So it is different. So if you do associate freedom and like acting on your desires, and you had that experience where you acted on your desires, but then you got smacked on the hand by the universe and by the situation, it might have been that you weren't truly acting out of like your soul's desires, or your like I get to be who I want to be, and this really lights me up, and this makes me feel happy, and this makes me feel whole, and this makes me feel genuinely joyous. It might have been just like a rebellious thing of like, I'm just going to do whatever you tell me not to do. And that is a form of freedom, for sure. But the freedom that I'm suggesting you take now and what is coming up, the desires that are coming up, are actually based from your soul. They're telling you that you're worthy of more, that you deserve more, that there is more out there for you. And that's not this like rebellious nature of just like, yeah, like go do that thing, like go be free. That I think your wires might be crossed in your mind because of some experience that you had in the past. So I'm offering that you have a right to your joy. You honestly have a right to making mistakes. So even if you have experienced freedom in the past and, it did hurt you to some degree, like it's okay. Like it's all good. Like you still, like that does not make you less of a person to make a mistake. It does not make you less of a person to go out there and try something and fall on your ass. If anything, it just means that you're alive and you're living and you're willing to risk and to make choices that really help you understand what the dimensions of life are and help you keep putting yourself out there even when it's challenging or hard. So I am suggesting that if there are places where you're truly desiring something different in your heart, that is your soul calling to you. That's not, it might be rebellion. It might kind of feel like the same thing because you're saying, not that, definitely not that. But that rebellion or that sense of like pullback or pushback, even if you've associated it with the past and just like freedom for freedom's sake, it's really your soul calling you into what you deserve and who you are truly. So that's what I have for you. Oh yeah, let's go over here too. There's completion, and then there's also revival. Yeah, I really feel like it requires strength. And the strength that it requires is not a resiliency and a shutting down of your emotions. It's actually an advocation for your emotions and for your desires. So it will be a courageous leap of faith I'm sensing that you'll need to take, where you're really saying what you need to say, saying what you want to say, not being afraid to walk away from what's no longer serving you, not being afraid to kind of like disintegrate what isn't working for you anymore, knowing that the space is creating new possibility and opportunity for you to move into something different, anything different, please, something different, and it's time for this completion. You've learned all that you need to learn from this current situation, and I feel like you feel that. I feel like that's why there's this drive to switch things up and try something new. So with that, I feel complete. I hope that this message was helpful and useful for you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Hello friends, if you picked pile number 3 and this brass eyeball, this is for you. And we're asking about love, Spirit. We're asking about love for pile number 3. Okay, this is like so spooky because this is the 3rd pile that the sun has come out reversed in this position. So, and the rest of the cards are different. It's just the first card. Isn't that spooky? I think that's spooky. Hilarious. Okay. Is that strength? Ooh, this looks like another self-advocacy one. We love that. We love to see it. We love self-advocacy. 8 of Wands. Holding something back. Chariot. Holding yourself back. Holding your... Okay. We'll get into it. Oh my god. This is like the sexiest self-love pile. Ah, I love it. Hold on. One more for funsies. Yes. Queens and kings and every beautiful human beings in between. Okay, I'm so excited for you. Okay, completion. We love this. Be loved. Okay. I'm done. I'm done. We're just beginning and I'm already done. Okay, that's hilarious. We have this I and then we have intuition. Boo, I'm done. I am done. Ancient memory. Ugh. Okay, this is so exciting. This feels like high priestess energy. This could also be high priest energy, but this feels like a completion of something that you set into motion. Like, I don't know if this is like in this life. Okay, so in this life, but something that you set into motion in the past. That's like finally, oh, you may have even forgotten about it, but it's like finally coming to fruition. And there's almost like this part of you that's like given up on it. You're like, okay, that's like never, I like put energy into it. I did what I could. I thought that maybe I could be this person, but then nothing ever seemed to come of that. So I had to get practical. I had to get realistic. I had to shut down my feelings. I had to shut down my emotions. And I just had to say, all right, you know, screw it. I have to live, basically. And all of that is about to change. I sense, I feel. Yeah, there's just, it feels like this part of you that you've just shut down, that you've closed down, that you've shut off to. And this is the sun. So it's the sun in reverse. It's this like whimsical, lighthearted, joyful energy. It's like what makes you feel connected to gentility and nature and like the promise of possibility and just like this free feeling energy, just like moments and spaces where you just feel so free and you feel just like yourself. And you know, this could definitely have a connection to either your inner needs or your inner child. This Chariot is always so interesting to me because this character is holding like this like little baby, right? And to me, it feels like, it always reminds me of like someone like holding a part of themselves. So whether that's their inner child, whether that's their needs, whether that's their wants, whether that's their desires, it's like something very tender and personal. And it's not another person, it's a version of themselves, because the Chariot is basically self-will and like making a decision of what you get to have and then going after it based off of who you are. It's like knowing who you are, knowing what you want, and knowing how to use who you are to get to what you want, to trust that you get to have what you want. So there definitely seems to be this part of you that's being re-nurtured and like brought back to life and re-loved on. And it's like you're making decisions in a different way. You're making decisions gracefully off of like, this provides me happiness, this provides me joy, this provides me well-being. We have the Nine of Pentacles here, which is very much this energy of like, this is who I am, this is what abundance feels like for me, and this is how I provide abundance for myself, by making decisions to cultivate my own garden. My garden looks different. I might have, this is metaphorical, right? Or maybe if it's like literal, but for me, the Nine of Pentacles is generally a woman depicted in like a very lush garden, and she looks very at ease and like in her body and in herself, and she's just like gracefully like plucking at some grapes. Like she doesn't have a care in the world. Like she is physically provided for. She also generally has like a falcon or a hawk on her. Like she's just like clearly a badass. And in this depiction, this looks even more gentle than that. And so this almost feels like, it reminds me back to these gentle flowers. It's almost like honoring and trusting your gentle nature as your personal power, because it's what provides you with happiness and satisfaction. And it's almost like honoring that you get to live in a world of grace and ease and having your needs met and provided by being this like lighthearted, whimsical, caring creature. And so the strength that I sense that you are gaining here is by holding your own of what you deserve and what you want to experience. We literally have, is this strength in this deck? I think so. Might be, they changed them. Hold on. Justice. Ooh, I love that even more. Okay, so this is about you bringing justice to yourself by claiming that you get to have what makes your heart feel delicious. It is clarified by the 9 of Cups, which is like the emotional happiness, the emotional satisfaction. She's literally like in a tea bowl with a gingerbread person having honey poured into this bathtub. So it's very, I feel like you're a whimsical person. I feel like you're a silly, lighthearted, whimsical person, and maybe this world has just like made you feel like the kind of person that you are, like there's just not enough space for you. You don't get to exist in that way, and so for whatever reason there's this like rise in your intuition where you do realize that you get to have your desires met, you get to be who you want to be in this world, and you get to be successful. So I don't know what's changed, but you have the Emperor and the 9 of Pentacles. And so the Emperor is like, I mean, it's the Emperor. Like he basically just like makes a decision and like that's final. And so I do sense this kind of energy for you where you might be on like learning that like how you're living isn't really giving back to you in the same way that you want it to. And there might be new ideas brought to you that's like reviving this feeling that you had in your past of like, maybe I could have all things, maybe I can really be the person that I feel like am on the inside and gift that to others through grace, through whimsy, through playfulness, through joy, and have success. Like it's really, I really feel like you're reviving an idea or a possibility. And it's coming to you through maybe synchronicities. It's coming to you through your intuition. I'm hearing audiobooks, podcasts. So other people kind of living in this way that you've always dreamt was possible. And it's sort of reviving your trust and your faith in yourself to actualize this for yourself. And I do feel like this isn't going to be something that just falls in your lap. This is going to be like little breadcrumbs that you get to like intuitively follow, that continuously lead you to a deeper sense of self-worth, because it's what you desire. It's not only what you want to experience in life, it's how you want to experience what you want to experience in your life. So it's not only the physical thing, it's like how you get the physical thing. It's like feeling like you don't have to sell out to get what you want. So, and I do feel like this might be like you're balancing with your head and your intuition. So just, you know, keep doing that, but just keep moving forward. So like if your head is like, ooh, that feels like too much to me, you know, like that feels too much of like a leap of faith, it's okay to like kind of temper your head and your heart, or your head and your intuition, but keep moving forward. Like keep asking good questions to your head, like, why can't we have this? Or, okay, I see that you're afraid of moving forward in this way. What would it take for you to feel more safe or more comfortable or confident to move in this new direction? Like, what do you need? So including your head in the process, even if you're using newly formed and developed intuition, it's like they get to both be safe and both have a say and both be collaborative in how you get to where you're going. And I do sense that this is going to be successful, but I do feel like it's dependent on the decisions that you make. And it's, yeah, you've done this before. You've done this before. I don't know, you've done this before. I just keep saying that. Ancient memory, shape-shifting. So this feels like something that you've done before, either earlier in this life or in previous lives, if you want to believe in that, but it's like you've done this before. Or maybe if you want to believe in the idea that everything that we want and desire has already happened. It's already occurred in like some parallel timeline. And so we get to jump to that experience, that we don't have to worry about the creation of it. We just have to follow the steps, and that it's already happened and already occurred, and that we're already worthy of that thing. So yeah, I really feel like that's what I want to say about that. But let me look at these oracle cards specifically. Intuition, yep. See, and like sun and moon, it's like using two different forms of decision making, using your intuition, using your conscious and your subconscious, using your intuition and your conscious decision making, like really letting them both work for you. Taking time to really connect to that, which makes you feel hopeful and possible, like whatever it is. So if it's listening to this podcast or those people who are already embodying what you're desiring, it's like really taking time and spending time in those spaces and in those portals that let you feel what it would be like to live the life that you want to live. And yeah, again, this just feels like divine union between masculine and feminine, or like mental and emotional, or mental and intuitive, where you're really just like pouring your nectar into both, and you're really valuing both. And that is what is helping you to really take your self-care and your self-love to the next level. Because it does feel like you're going to be doing some shape shifting. Like who you are now will not be the same person you are in a year from now. And it's because that you've taken these intuitive nudges towards that which you most desire, and that which you may have given up on in the past, or felt like just wasn't possible for you to in the past. But now that you have a better understanding of your intuition and your masculine energy, and that they can work together, I feel like this is creating a new portal or gateway or pathway for you to really find success and justice in a new way. And that's what I have for you guys. I hope that was helpful and insightful. If it was, please go down and leave me a comment. Even if it wasn't, leave me a comment. I'm really new to this, so you know, any feedback is good feedback at this point. Help me figure out my niche. All right. Thank you, friend. Bye-bye. Hi, darlings. Oh my gosh. Okay. Already I'm getting the feeling of like, ooh, okay, let me just sit with this for a second. Okay. So this feels like self-sacrifice. Specifically sacrificing your heart, your wants, your desires. It feels like being like almost like surgically skillful at your ability to sort of like cut out the consideration that you could have for you, or just being so logical and so surgically removed from your emotions that they have like no means of like getting in or communicating with you. It's almost like you're too literal or too object. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, so this is, yeah, it literally feels like eating yourself. That's because I thought this cake was like a continuation of, like, she was literally like eating pieces of herself. So I know that's pretty gruesome, but hopefully relevant. And let's get into it. All right, this is pile number 4. I think that's peridot. I don't know, but it's green, so it reminds me of the heart chakra. And I really feel like your heart, maybe this is just like a message from your heart. We'll see what the cards have to say. But what is pile number 4 need to know about love? Love. King of Cups. All right, here we go. Yep, trusting others, trusting yourself. Oh, yeah, okay. It feels like, I don't know if this is like starting over. It feels like you have the capacity and the depth of heart. You have emotional intelligence. I just don't know if you have been using it for yourself in a while. But you have great, it seems like the strength card is representing you. So, and like, I just see this like heart, this ball here, and in her hands, it's like, it just feels like emotional intelligence. Like you have the strength for emotional intelligence. It just almost feels like your heart and your emotional intelligence hasn't been charged or trusted in a while. It's almost like you have this coping mechanism that you've developed. Maybe keep yourself safe or something. Wait, what is happening? What is happening? 8 of Crystals. Perspective. Yeah, okay. 10 of Cups. Okay, so this is a really good stuff. Page of Wands. Temperance. Yeah, this is time for balance. This is time for emotional healing. This is time for you to be held. This is time for you to trust again in the power of love and in the power of your emotional intelligence. I can tell that you have been on a long journey through the desert. And so emotion is symbolized by water. And so it almost feels like you've had to adapt this coping mechanism of being just very surgically precise and almost objective and almost shutting down your heart because of the experiences that you've had where you just felt like you had to be really clever, really cunning, really objective as to not get hurt. And so I really feel like whatever the reason was for that and whatever circumstances you found yourself in, that you're really clearing that away. You're really clearing away. You're really clearing away. It's just so funny. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to film my first YouTube video. My family is so very vocal, and I don't know if you can hear them. Oh wow, I really like that lighting. But yeah, my family is very vocal, so if you can hear them in the background, you know, God has blessed them. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Back to you. It's like this time away from your heart has almost built your heart in a weird way. It's been like it's ready for you to come back to, and there's like a majesty and a grace that you've gained on your journey that's really going to help you create an even better union with your emotional intelligence. And I feel like this is what you've been needing in order to feel emotionally safe, mentally safe, physically safe, to be able to feel to the depths that I feel like you naturally feel at, and to be in your strength. So it's really time for you to come home to yourself. It's really time for you to come home to your emotions. The clouds are parting, the sky is clear, and it's really time for you to come home. It's really time for you to come back into your emotional body. It's really time for you to ground. It's really time for you to practice sending energy to your heart, from your intuition to your heart. So really activating your intuition again. I do feel like your intuition has been pretty online. I feel like this is a part of like what you've been using to be clever and discerning, but I really feel like it's time for you to, instead of just like energizing your like money moves or your strategy or like how to navigate unsafe people, it's really time for you to call in your emotional well-being and the people that are going to be safe enough for you to share again from this wealth of wisdom that you have and that you have been cultivating. It is time for you to meet your family. It is time for you to balance your mental body and your emotional body. It is time for you to come home. And you are safe. And I do sense, we have the 9 of Swords on the back of the deck, so I do sense that this it's definitely going to be a journey. We also have the Page of Wands. So this is going to be stepping into uncharted territory. I don't know if you've ever felt experiences with like friendships and family ships and community like what you are calling into your life, but you are ready for it now, just because or if you haven't experienced this in the past, or even if like you did experience in the past, but then you've been through this desert and you're just like, maybe I'll never connect with people again. And that's just not true. And so it's really time for you to come back home, to your heart. And I'm just gonna pick, oopsies, a few oracle cards. Cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. Deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. This is what I'm talking about. Lifting the veil. So yeah, there's something that you still don't see. And then on the back of the deck, stop. Embrace the winter great cosmic womb. So if you haven't been avoiding your emotional body, I think that it's time for you to really get back in tune with your heart and with your emotional state. I think that it's going to help you integrate the experiences that you've already had and call you into greater acceptance of what has already transpired, and help you help you just surrender to the alchemy of life. I feel like it's gonna make sense. I feel like your heart is naturally going to open when it understands what you've been through, how you can use it, that you were never abandoned, but that you are growing strength. And there might be some anger that you have towards the universe or towards whoever, and like that's okay, but it's about recognizing that you want to become back in alignment with your heart. You want your heart turned on again, and that you have access to that for the first time in a long time. Like you are safe, you are held, and you're creating safety for yourself through the resiliency that you created. You are safe enough to be soft again. And this, you allowing yourself to be soft again is what's going to call in your fam, I think. Yeah, you're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness, face your true north. It's time for you to stop fitting in and to start getting sensitive again. So, and trust the timing, trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. So I think it's really time for you to receive the mother's milk from the deep love that is within your heart, and to be nurtured by the deep love that you are and that is available to you. I think this will help you make sense of the past and create a portal forward for yourself. So with that, I feel complete. I hope that was helpful for you. Comment down below if it was. Let me know what resonated or if it did. And thank you for coming in and letting me read for you.